I hate posts like this. It's kind of frustrating and annoying. But it's one of those things that you do need to talk about, because these, when you're an investor, when you are in real estate, when you're building homes, whatever it is that you're doing, and you rely on other subs or other companies to do their part and to do the things that they're supposed to be doing. And guy AJ Trujillo, that Trujillo Roofing and Construction, and he's actually done a lot of other work for us, so over years, so it's one of those things that this just kind of hits you, because you trust a guy, you give him an opportunity, and this was an opportunity to do multiple houses, and so wanted to get him in on this house and just, see how he does with bigger projects and everything. And, unfortunately, he decided stealing $6,000 would be how he would repay us for trying to give him an opportunity. And, this is one of those things that you have to think about, that, when you're investing, and it could even be somebody that you trust. It could be somebody that you have worked with in the past, just don't give money up front. And this is a guy that, sob story of, well, I'm just, I'm still kind of building, and I'm still kind of, getting, trying to grow my company. And so, I need you to pay for the windows up front, because that's what we were hiring him to do, is replace the windows in this property. And that was what he told me. And I even told him, I said, dude, I don't give money up front. And, I was like, but then I was one of those things, and you go with your gut, because I knew, didn't know he's going to steal from me, but I just knew in my heart, don't give it to him, get somebody else, hire people but I have always rooted for the underdog. I've always rooted for the guys that are coming up, because I was one of those guys that came up, and I just sat there and figured, this is going to be something that he was going to, get it figured out, get it done. And when I gave him the money, to order the windows, and, first thing is, well, the bank's holding his money because, blah, blah, blah. And coming from banking, the bank holds your money if you're having issues with your accounts, or holds your money if you are, not handling your accounts properly. And so that was a red flag. But I was like, okay, give him a shot, don't be, give him an opportunity. And so from there, I let him go ahead and, have some days, and then, hey, have you ordered windows? Yeah, they're supposed to release the money on this day. All right, dude, as soon as the money's released, you need to order those windows, because we need, we're on a time frame. And then, kind of, I don't like to micromanage, and maybe that's something, that I need to do with these guys. But so kind of just let it go. And I was like, hey, we're ready to go. What's happening with the windows, man? And he's like, oh, well, I'm waiting for them, and, blah, blah, blah. And so I was like, I don't trust you anymore. So I went to where basically we all order windows from, to Window Depot, and went over there to go check it out, and nothing under the company name, under my name, there was nothing. Those windows were never ordered, right? And then he stops answering me and everything, and I have someone else call, and, he answers them, but it's just another excuse. And, oh, this day I fell off my ladder, and, I'm at the hospital right now, and just, again, lie after lie after lie. And it's like, hey, if you ordered the windows, send us a receipt that you ordered the windows. I want to see a receipt that windows were actually ordered. And so, hey, you know what? We'll just move on, And I even told him, I sent him a message, and I said, look, dude, at this point, just bring back my money and go your way. You know what I mean? You screwed up, you fucked up. bring my money back. And again, didn't happen. And here we go. So we're out $6,000. And then, after the fact, obviously, I start doing research. I start reaching out to other people that he's worked with, and holy crap, dude. Like, this is this guy's MO. You know what I mean? He's took $4,000 from another person. He took $6,000 from me. He did a horrible job on some of the other flips that he did for some people. And it just like, then you just hear the horror stories, right? And then it's just like, you want to trust, that's a big part of any business, and the people that you work with, you want to trust them. But to say that this is a very untrustworthy person, this is someone that literally took advantage and just stole $6,000, stole it. It's just, that's why, it's hard to trust, and it's hard to sit there and, want to help people out. So, it's PSA for people. We'll be filing lawsuits and going through the whole legal process of all that, and, turning them in. And, $6,000 to blow up your life and your business, man. And for what? For what? And we've given this guy so many opportunities before. And I've given him opportunities to make it right and bring it back and be done. And he refuses to. So, at your own risk, I am telling you. And, we had positive experiences with him in the before. But I will tell you, at your own risk, would I ever sit there and I would never refer him ever to anybody. There's a lot of realtors that use them. There's a lot of people that use them, and, if you actually go back and you start looking at all of his reviews and all of his stuff like that, this guy is horrible. The Better Business Bureau revoked his status with the Better Business Bureau because he'd done so bad. So, it is what it is. Be safe out there, don't give money up front. That's a big thing, man. Once they have your money, and if there's nothing, there's how are you gonna get it back? And so, now we have to go through a lengthy, legal process to do it. And for what? For a guy that, took $6,000. So stay safe out there, guys. And again, like I said, I hate these kind of posts.